As of March 8th, Missouri has only tested 26 people for the coronavirus and found one positive case, a woman who was recently in Italy. You might feel relieved that she probably got it abroad until you learn that the state is only testing people with recent travel histories. According to the World Health Organization, the global fatality rate is 3.4%. Some health officials predict this number might fall, but say it's too soon and we have too little information to tell. The death rate in the U.S. is quoted as being between 4 to 5.7%, but this could be due to a small sample size, as the U.S. has tested very few people. According to the MIT Technology Review, the Center for Disease Control produced defective coronavirus test kits, and as a result has only tested around 1,300 patients. We have a shortage of testing kits. In part, this is because FDA rules prevented state and commercial labs from making their own tests. They lifted this rule on February 29th. I visited the Student Health Center for an illness 2 times last week, and none of the staff were wearing masks. They also didn't provide me with a mask, despite having a low-grade fever and coughing and sneezing. 3 different staff members all told me they had not tested any students for the coronavirus. I called campus dining services and they told me food service workers will not be wearing masks. Here are some phone calls I made March 6th, one day before the first confirmed case in Missouri.
Student Health, this is Kim. How can I help you? No, we do not have testing kits here. I think because criteria in the state of Missouri does not meet anything. We have not been sent any. Would you like to talk to a nurse?
Would they know more about it, or?
Well, we've all been told the same things. But no, they meet daily, and we're just not collecting samples. And yeah, I think I'll let you talk with one of our nurses. Okay?
Okay.
Hi, this is Megan. I can explain it a little better. So it's not that we are not testing people. We actually don't have the capability to test people here because of you have to be in a certain type of room, and the hospital has that. So it's not that we don't have test kits. It's that we can't do it because of how we're set up and because of the personal protective equipment you have to wear.
Mm-hmm.
So if we felt like somebody had it, then they would have to go to the emergency room to be tested.
So how would you know when to send someone to the emergency room for it?
Well, so we have questions we would ask you. So as far as if anyone here is sick, they don't have any confirmed cases in Missouri, and so if anyone hasn't traveled outside of Missouri in the last 2 weeks, at this point, we would not test. If someone has been traveling outside of Missouri and they have gone to an area where there's a concern, because there are a couple of cities where there's community spread, that's those people that we would want to look at right now. We know that are.
Do you know how many people they've tested in Missouri?
No, I don't. I don't know a number, but I know they have tested people in Missouri.
Because I've only heard of maybe 20 people in St. Louis, and I don't see how that's really effective.
Well, I know they've tested more than that.
I just feel like there's so many people that are moving around. How could you know, to only test a tiny percentage of people?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I totally get it. But right now, at this point, we have to get permission from the state to test anyone.
Would you recommend that people that are sick wear a mask even if they don't know what they have?
I would not say they need to wear a mask unless they have a fever, and then they shouldn't really be going out anyway.
So I have a low-grade fever. What would you say for that?
If you're not feeling well and you have a low-grade fever, I would just stay home.
Do they have any masks for students, for sick students to wear?
If someone comes here and they have a fever, we give them a mask.
So they didn't give me a mask? Is that because I just had a low-grade fever?
Yeah.
Probably. If it was 1 degree higher, they would have given me one?
I'm not sure. Let's see what she diagnosed you with. She diagnosed you with a viral illness?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, usually we give people a mask if we think they have influenza.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. But it really just depends. It just depends on the provider if they think that you're contagious enough that you need to be wearing a mask.
What kind of masks are they?
So we have regular surgical masks here.
Here's a graphic from the CDC's website. Surgical masks may be somewhat helpful in preventing the spread of viruses, but they don't actually filter out particles as small as those that spread COVID-19. N95 masks, on the other hand, do filter particles this small. If there's a food service worker that sneezes, that would be all over the food that all the students are eating. So it seems like they should probably be wearing some masks.
And I don't know if that's not my deal is not the dining services, but or what they're supposed to do if they are sick. I know if they're sneezing, they should probably be sneezing into their elbows. That's what I would recommend. But
Campus Dining Services, this is Debbie. May I help you?
Well, there is hand sanitizer. I know dispenser downstairs at Plaza 900 when you first walk in. There is also hand sanitizer at Rollins.
Okay,
I'm
is
not
it
sure
just one? Because I looked around, I couldn't find it, so I feel like maybe they need to put more and make it more like accessible. Because I didn't see anyone like washing their hands or using hand sanitizer.
Well, the servers are not going to be wearing masks. They do wash their hands and they wear gloves as they're touching product. So I can share your concern that the units need to make sure that they have hand sanitizer out for the students coming in.
So like I'm just thinking like if one of the food service workers sneezes and like forgets to put the sneeze in their elbow, that could easily like contaminate a bunch of food.
I hear your concerns, and I will share your concerns.
It's no different than any other time that we have. Staff have to be careful regardless. We all go through food service safety, so we are ServSafe certified. We know what precautions we need to take. They do have to wash their hands every time and they have to change their gloves every time they change taps. So they are doing that. We are very well aware of it.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm just thinking like the coronavirus in the U.S. the fatality rate's 5%, so it seems like it warrants more like precautions than regular flu or cold would warrant.
I understand your concern. I will share your concern.
Know that we are very well aware of what we need to be doing. We are ServSafe certified. So please know that we are aware and we are washing our hands and being diligent about it just like we would at any other time.
Hi, I'm doing research and I was just wondering, either of you guys wash your hands, use hand sanitizer before you ate?
Wash your hands.
Before you ate?
I guess no. No. No.
Oh, no. Before you ate?
Yes.
Before you ate? Before you ate? No. Okay. Before you ate?
I did not. Nope. Before I ate? No.
Before you ate? What?
No. No. No.
Well, I mean, yeah, but I went to the bathroom before.
Oh, so you don't usually?
No.
Okay. And you?
No. You wash your hands before eating.
No. Okay, thank you. Before you ate?
No. I did.
You did? Okay. Before you ate?
No.
No. No.
Before you ate?
No, not really.
Okay. Ate today?
Oh, shit. No, I didn't.
Okay. How's your before you ate? How's your before you ate?
Yes.
Yeah.
Before you ate?
No. 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 No.
Before you ate?
Yes.
You did? Before you ate?
Yeah, I wash my hands. I just came from the rec though, so I wash
Oh,
my
so
hands.
you don't usually?
Before I come to eat, like, I mean, I don't consciously go wash my hands, particularly before I eat.
Before you ate?
No.
Before you ate? Yes? Okay. Before you ate?
Yes, I did.
You did? Yes.
Okay. Before you ate?
I did.
I did.
You did? Okay. Before you ate?
No.
No. That's a no?
No.
And you?
No.
Okay.
Yes, I did. No.
And you work here?
Yes.
So that's why you are conscious about it?
I'm conscious about it just because I know like there's a lot of sicknesses going around. So
Yeah. Are you ServSafe certified?
I'm not sure what that means. So
Okay.
like
So did they have you do like any programs before you started working here?
like online, yeah, like taking like tests and stuff.
So like what was the program like?
I don't know what it was called, but we had to like watch like sanitize type videos and take tests, knowing that we can be clean and wash our hands before after touching stuff.
How long were the lessons? Were you watching like videos?
I honestly don't remember. It was so long ago.
Oh, how long ago was it?
I would say my freshman year, and I'm a sophomore now.
Oh, okay. So did they do it in one day?
It depends on how long it took me. It was like my own pace on my computer,
Oh,
but it only took me like one day.
Oh, it took you one day. So just like a couple hours to make videos. Okay, cool. Thank you. Before you ate?
No.
Did you? No. Okay, 2 no's. Before you ate?
Yes.
Yes. No.
Okay, wait.
As in, like, immediately before I started eating or, like, before I came here? Not just before eating my food.
Before you ate?
I did, yes.
You did? Okay. Before you ate?
I don't know.
You can say no. It's okay.
I mean, like, not directly before, but kind of close.
Okay.
No.
Not directly before, no.
Okay, you ate?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And you work here?
Yes.
So are you ServSafe certified?
Sorry?
Are you ServSafe certified?
Yeah. Like, do you mean by like going online and do the safety stuff? Yeah.
So when did you do your training?
Like 3 weeks ago.
Oh, are you a new employee? And how long did it take you?
It took me like 2 days maybe.
Like hours? Like
hours for the safety certification or the
Yeah, like the videos you watch and the tests and stuff.
probably 3 hours.
3 hours? Okay. Before you ate?
Well, not every time.
Not every time? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
You did?
I did not.
Okay. Before you ate?
Yes. Yes.
And you?
What's the question?
Before you ate?
Yes.
Yes.
Before you ate?
I have not.
Oh, you ate?
Yeah.
And do you work here?
I'm working here.
Okay. How long have you been working here?
Actually, I'm working from last August. Yeah.
And are you ServSafe certified?
Yeah.
Do you, how long did the program take you to do?
Oh, here? It's for 2 years. Which one? The safety program.
The online ServSafe thing where you watch the videos?
Yeah, before working here, right? That is one. Okay, it took like half, each video like 20 minutes. It is like 5 to 6 videos. So it is like 2 hours.
Okay, thank you. You ate?
I did not.
Create.
I did. Use hand sanitizer.
Okay. Do you think if there were like signs up or more bottles around that you would use the hand sanitizer?
Signs probably no bottles.
If you put a bottle of hand sanitizer right here. Yeah.
Did you know that there's one by the entrance?
Nope.
Okay, I didn't know either. It's like black, hard to notice. So thank you guys. Create.
Yeah, I used it upstairs.
So you guys people that said no, do you think you would be more likely to use it if there were more bottles around or signs to remind you?
Yeah.
Do you think you would be more likely to use hand sanitizer if there were more bottles around or signs to remind you?
If there was one on the table, I would think yeah. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Create.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. How would you feel about having to wear a mask while you're working?
I don't know. I mean, I'm open to it if it helps, but it'd just be a little annoying with people.
You're working.
I wouldn't really mind it.
Okay, thank you. How would you feel about having to wear a mask while you're working?
Like a mask, like a...
Yeah, like the surgical masks.
Honestly, I think that's a smart idea. I actually used to wear one, but then they ran out of them, and like I didn't like mess with them to do that. But I think that would be good since it's like carcinogenic and also it irritates my throat. So yeah, one where it's like easier to breathe. Somehow maybe there's better quality ones.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, I think it's a good idea, like just from like a health perspective, just to help employees. But also like like coughing and like spreading and stuff.
Yeah.
I think it's a smart idea.
How would you feel about having to wear a mask while you're working?
I don't know. Because like, I'm like coronavirus thing.
Yeah, just like a surgical mask.
I think I'd be fine with it. Yeah, I think I'd be fine with it.
So how would you feel about having to wear a mask while you're working?
I think it's good because I know that coronavirus is super contagious. So I think wearing a mask is like a guarantee that you won't spread. Like if you have the sick, if you are infected, if you wear a mask, you will just decrease the rate like to come to like get other infection. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's good.
All right, thank you. Is your job only to check people in? Or?
No, I just get put here a lot.
For like my first question for when you're like working with the food, would you mind having to wear a mask? Would that bother you?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, and then another question: how often do people use that?
One sitting here maybe like 2 people an hour.
2 people now use the hand sanitizer. Yeah.
Not very
Do
many.
you think maybe they should like put more out there?
Maybe. I think it's just because it like blends in, like
Yeah.
you can really see it.
It's black with the
Yeah,
same color.
and it's like next to the other poles, so it just kind of fades in the background. Maybe if there's like a sign or something, that'll help.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you. Have a great day.
Oh, hi. Yeah, my name is Kate Clevenger. I'm an epidemiologist with the state of Missouri, and I got a message that you had some concern about coronavirus. I'll try to explain to you what the testing protocol has looked like up until yesterday, and that's probably what your health center is talking about. And she is correct that there was no testing in Missouri other than through the state. And so, I mean, obviously everybody has limited resources. There's only so many tests that we could run at a time. And so we had to go through a screening process in order to pick those that seemed most pressing, highest priority for testing. People that had relevant travel history concerning symptoms, including hospitalization and some of these things. So trying to catch those people who are at highest risk. As of yesterday at 6 p.m., 2 commercial labs have come online. And so now any provider at any healthcare facility can order COVID testing without having to go through the state.
So, did they not know that? I feel like she didn't mention that. Should I call her and ask if they are aware?
I think she should know that. I don't know. It depends on who you spoke to. I mean, I think whoever
She's a nurse
is there that needs to know. I mean, the best thing would be if people are having symptoms, upper respiratory flu-like symptoms, that they call their provider ahead of time and say, hey, these are my symptoms, this is my travel history, these are the people I've been around. And then if it seems like they'll be likely to test, they will put a mask on you before you walk through the door. So
this state of the health department, you left me a message. It basically is that anybody, any doctor can say, can request testing, but it's going to cost, money to do that. With those tests, I heard that, they're fairly expensive and that insurance may not pay for them.
Currently, around 28 million Americans are uninsured, and if you add in the underinsured, you have a whopping 87 million people uninsured or underinsured. The U.S. population is 327 million, so that's 27% of Americans.
But it's, you're at risk, if somebody has it in any kind of group setting. Yeah, and so, right, and that's to say it's not here. It could be here, but we don't, but as far as we know right now, there's been no cases, so.
It is like within the U.S. though in other cities, and I don't think there's any travel restrictions between states.
There's no travel restrictions, here. So,
Is there like a shortage of masks? Is that like the reason that the university wouldn't be having food service workers wear them?
Well, it's it's just, I guess it's just the practicality of it, and it's when then you have everybody wear a mask that's in a large group, and masks are not even recommended for people that don't have symptoms. So
why is wait?
Wear a mask.
So why is it not recommended? Is it just because they don't have enough for everyone, so they don't want people without symptoms?
Well, it's just the masks, would only be warranted if a person has symptoms.
Isn't there like a
dormancy period though, like 7 to 14 days where you don't have symptoms yet?
Well, there's an incubation period, yes, and before symptoms develop, and I don't know, there was some things out there that people could spread it before they were had showed symptoms, but lately they haven't said anything about that. And anyway, if a person doesn't have symptoms, they're not going to be coughing or sneezing. So
But like, if ideally, if we had enough masks, it would be good for most people to wear them, right?
Well, no, I don't know. That's not recommended. That's
But it wouldn't be detrimental, like, right? There's no like.
Well, but it just wouldn't be practical, and right now, I just have to remember right now in Missouri, the risk for getting COVID-19 is considered low.
So how do they determine the risk?
Well, seeing cases, and we have not seen any cases here.
But the reason we haven't seen cases is probably because they've only tested 17 people, right?
Well, I don't know how many people they've tested.
Well, it is. The governor tweeted like last night, we've tested nearly 17 people in Missouri. So unless he's wrong.
Okay, and that's so that there's just not that many people that are meeting the criteria for testing right now. So. But
isn't the criteria that you have to have traveled recently and have very severe symptoms?
Well, not if you have travel exposure, you don't have to have severe symptoms. You just have to have fever and upper respiratory symptoms.
What if you are in contact with someone that has recently traveled?
If you're that probably no, you would not be criterion.
But I'm just thinking, like, to me it seems like they really don't have a way of knowing right now how many people in the U.S. have it with the strict testing requirements, and because the commercial ones have only been.
Yeah, and there's only so many tests available.
Yeah. So, like, knowing that, doesn't it kind of make sense that my university should be taking extra precautions since they don't know?
Well, they are. They are planning. There's plans in place. If we start seeing cases. And,
like, because what are like the plans?
There's just there are plans in place that that will just be proactive and like wash your hands.
So you don't think food service? You don't think food service workers wearing masks would like be helpful to contain it?
No, because what makes you think food service workers would have it versus somebody else?
Well, because we don't really know who has it, because there's only been 17 tests done.
Yeah.
And there's no limit on travel within the United States, and there's multiple cities where it's at.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's it's just if we start seeing cases, then there'll be more control measures put into place and stop the spread. But so far we've not seen any cases. So.